when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved.
Behind the storm of daily conflict and crisis, the tumult of political struggle, the artist continues the quiet work.
An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times.
Thus art is political in the most profound sense, not as a weapon in the struggle, but as an instrument of understanding of the futility of struggle.
We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the first episode of The Read. 2 weeks ago, we finished up the editing for, the writing on the beat for this dark noir film that we're working on. We're going into a potentially very dark time, so we're trying to... Oh, we've been through a pretty dark time, honestly, anyway, so we're trying to expel those dark demons and format that into some creativity. So joining me, I've been doing some background producer director work, and I found some cast, some beautiful, wonderful cast. You may recognize, I guess that's the top. I'm bad with my lefts and rights, guys. That's my top right, the top right up here in this corner. That is Alan. She was in Subjugate. She played Hale's mother. What was her name? I don't remember either. Well, you'll remember. She's phenomenal. And then this is Joe. He's not been in any of our films yet, but he's about to be. He's playing Zippo. Ellen is Georgia. And some other members of Ripple might show up, might peter in here. What we have here, the background here is, I remember when I was in Austin doing some AV work for a company, and I was taking a lunch break, and on that lunch break, I had CNN on, I think, and just catching on. This was months ago, and this was whenever Trump was in the New York getting his sentencing, or like in something. And the guy set himself on fire on live TV. And they fully showed it because they weren't expecting it. And I was sitting there trying to eat some pizza, and this guy did this thing. And it was terrible and awful, and I definitely went into, like, shock mode. And then it was like a 3-day story, maybe. Like it petered out after the next day, and then later they were like, hey, you guys remember that guy that set himself on fire? Here's a little info. Anyway, what's going on in the weather or whatever, so that first kind of clicked me into, like, what world are we living in right now, like, where something that like, I remember in school, in middle school, when we first started hearing about protests, and there's that famous picture that's on the Rage Against the Machine album of the monk burning himself, setting himself on fire, and that just, like, that image haunted me for, I don't even know how long. And, the world, that happened several times, but that specific image, it went 1960s version of viral. And it was terrible, and people talked about it, and it made a lasting impact. These days, I don't know if that would happen. Obviously, this guy set himself on fire on live television, and I don't even know the guy's name, and that was the second time that it happened in, like, a month. Except the other one wasn't on live TV. He had streamed it. That veteran guy. Um, and then obviously we have the assassination attempts happen, regardless of how you feel about the motives again or about Trump. Guy literally shot at him with a assault rifle, and that was a bigger story. But it wasn't like, we didn't feel the weight of how serious that moment actually is. How heavy that actually is. And if there's anything that we're trying to do here at Ripple is remind each other of our humanity. Like, there's been several presidential assassinations, or obviously assassinations, but assassination attempts, and like they're big news. It's a big thing when that happens, and we've gotten such in a vitriolic, violent state where it's just like I mean, literally, like I saw people making vulgar jokes within 30 minutes of it. Anyway. And then, of course, we have the CEO murder, which people were legit celebrating. And once again, like, however you feel about the guy's motives, just the idea that we're just so casual about violence like that, like actual real world violence. I'm not talking about Hollywood movies. I don't care about that. Actual real world violence, we're just, Similar with the California fires. People are dying over there. Billions of dollars worth of property damage, and though people are taking that pretty seriously because it's happening right now, but I see a lot of people just like, well, if they weren't Democrats, and they wouldn't be getting what they deserve, that kind of thing. It's just like, guys, this group apathy that we all have, this collective apathy, and this just this world that we live in is getting a little gross for my liking. So that's kind of, I remember whenever the CEO assassination happened, the Ripple team and I were talking. It was like they kept saying, it feels like we're in Gotham, like we're in Batman, and it feels like we've entered into this dystopian world, the way people are reacting to it. And I was like, okay, Batman, why does it feel like that? Because it does feel like that. It's vigilantes taking out what they claim is justice, kind of willy-nilly. And then people are celebrating it, or not even like acknowledging it. They're just like, and then it's a story. I mean, we're not even talking about it anymore. So my girlfriend at the time was wanting to watch actually all the Batman movies, because I'm a hipster, guys. I have the Batman Tim Burton's on VHS. Not because I think it's better quality. Obviously, it's terrible quality, but because of the nostalgia, 100% because of the nostalgia factor. They have all these little commercials, Coke, Pepsi commercials or something beforehand. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm holding on to this memory, but I have this memory of this commercial with Bugs Bunny from 1989, and it makes me feel amazing. Anyway, so that's why I got the VHS, and we've been rewatching the Batman movies, so we got to The Batman with Robert Pattinson, and I had seen it once before in the theaters, and I knew it was great, but then after watching that, I'm like, man, this thing is just such a masterpiece. In tone, in cinematography, in storytelling, all of it. It's great. And I'm like, yeah, I get why it feels like we're living in Gotham. It just feels like the darkness has taken hold. So that's where this script comes out of, is the darkness has taken hold. And there is the universe in this is that Zippo is he writes a zine, a little independent, anonymous pamphlet that he hands out that it ends up being the only news source that people can trust in this universe, because they don't trust the media, they don't blah, 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 blah. But there's this one guy who tells the truth. However, because mob mentality is what it is, the group think of it all, and the mob with torches is what it is, they're not listening to the things about, the positive things that Zippo's writing up about. The things that they actually care about are the corruption and the anger, the things that make them feel rage. And that is because they've been so jaded by collective trauma that they are just looking for some hit. A hit of feeling, of emotion. And that's where Zippo is thinking about his effect on society. Like, I am just reporting the facts, but people are taking those facts and fueling their burning rage. So, what is the responsibility of a journalist in that moment? I don't know. But anyway, that's the universe that we're living in. Alan's character Georgia has been sickened. I don't know if we ever say what sick illness she actually has, but she's been sickened by a chemical dump from an incinerator, from a pharmaceutical incinerator, in the runoff into the neighboring neighborhood. She was one of the residents that decided to stay home, and she's been sick ever since. Can you guys say a couple words? I want to make sure you guys have audio. I have my desktop audio going. If I play the score, the background music that I have, can you guys hear this? And if you can't, I don't really care. Can you hear anything?
It's faint.
Okay, well good, because it won't be faint on the stream. So that's all that matters.
Dang it.
Okay. Alright, so, we're back. We're going to pretend like that never happened. And here we go. Let me turn the score on. There's that. Okay. And make sure you guys are good. I'll do the mayor's dialogue as well. Let me pull up my...
Are you reading stage directions?
Yeah, I'll do stage and I'll do mayor.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, police scanner on the first page?
Yeah, I'll do all the stuff that isn't you guys.
Okay.
That isn't us.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, well, we got the title. We'll skip past the title page. Okay. Exterior smokestacks night. The heat from a burning chemical fire warps the night sky.
I understand rage. The buzzing hive generates heat. It's called shivering thermogenesis. Soldiers radiate off of each other to keep the colony alive.
Exterior dirty street night. The leaflet titled Mr. Zippo Explains It All sticks out of the dirty back pocket of someone hiding in the shadow of an alley.
Heat motivates. It spreads like wildfire until self-immolation. I've seen it.
Interior Zippo's apartment night. The zine is how it's pronounced. Zine gets printed from an ordinary overworked coffee-stained printer in the office of a dark apartment. In the corner of the apartment sits a police scanner. A man with a dark-rimmed glasses, white shirt, black tie sits next to the scanner with a small notepad out.
But I'm not here to start fires. I'm not here to put them out. I point at the light and the dark and let them know if something is coming. After that, it's up to the hive.
Fire down pharmacy on 31st, suspected arson. Exterior night, street. The same leaflet is charred and blowing down a filthy street, caught in so much other trash.
That's what makes this such a predicament.
Interior Zippo's apartment night. Zippo stares at his ringing burner phone. Caller ID reads Mayor. Interior Cunningham House night. Zippo stands next to a kitchen table next to an older woman, Georgia Cunningham. The home is old and tired, Zippo writes. On the table is a map of a local area with a red zone surrounding a small drawing of a large building labeled Down. Inside the red zone are several black X marks with names associated. Georgia coughs. Her hand shakes as she tries to drink some wine through a straw. Zippo holds her glass steady.
Anonymity gives the fearful faith. They deserve it, and I haven't decided about myself.
Interior, Zippo's car continued. Zippo's phone shows several missed calls and a voicemail from Mayor. What kind of reporter doesn't answer the phone? I've got a story for you, but you just need to get here quick. I'm not at the mansion.
I know where you are, alright? You're the molten core of the Earth, gravity falling into itself.
Exterior, Georgia's home continued. Zippo stands outside the home, both of whom... Zippo stands outside home... Okay, I didn't fully write that. Zippo and Georgia stand outside the home, both of whom are looking at the mostly abandoned neighborhood. The factory looms over homes once belonging to happy families.
Is there a name for someone that's both a knight in shining armor and an executioner?
Usually asshole.
I call him the mayor.
Interior, Zippo's car continued. Zippo's driving through town, Georgia coughing into a handkerchief.
I'm used to being shit on by the world. In my neighborhood, we're at best forgotten, and at worst, blamed for everything. I'm used to that. But now there's people like, shit, I don't know where they even come from. These corporations are killing us for $1. People like you, Zips. You give us the fuel to fight. Nobody used to make a fuss. You gave them a reason to care 10 years ago with that cop story.
Zippo's ears perk up.
Yeah, I've been reading your stuff for years.
I don't know if my fans are more jaded and cynical or apathetic and mobilized.
Georgia looks at herself in the rearview mirror.
Do I look like one of your soldiers?
Interior, gas station, night. Zippo stands in line behind a stranger and in front of Georgia.
Georgia is right. I melted the sand of time into a mirror that reflected what they wanted to see. Madness. The world saw itself honestly, ate it up, shat it out, and is repeating the process.
The man in front of Zippo pulls a mask over his face and holds up the gas station attendant. Zippo turns around and looks at Georgia, who rolls her eyes.
Last year, the most watched program was a televised rape.
Georgia walks away, frustrated that her day's inconvenienced.
When does trauma turn into disillusion? When does illusion turn into mass apathy? We've seen too much.
Exterior, down pharmaceutical incinerator, early morning. Zippo pulls his car up to an old abandoned factory surrounded by neighbors that should have been abandoned a long time ago. Interior, down pharmaceutical incinerator, early morning. Zippo and Georgia walk around the abandoned complex.
You know, sometimes I think I should have taken...
Sorry, that's Georgia.
Oh, that was my fault. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Sometimes I think I should have taken their money, moved away.
Why didn't you?
At the time, I was more principled. I don't know what happened to that.
Interior, down pharmaceutical incinerator. Top floor, morning. Georgia and Zippo round the corner and find themselves in a room of open windows.
This world's over. I do what I can, but, you know.
They walk toward the end of the hall, spot a man, Mayor, standing in the window ready to jump. I'm the only person at this level fighting for... I mean, you may not think what I was doing was... I mean, you may not think I was doing everything right, but... if they keep coming after me, it's only going to get worse. That's just how it's set up. Tell your readers I'm not their enemy. The system is their enemy. I tried. Zippo stops writing on his notepad. Georgia casually walks up to Mayor and pushes him out of the window. Georgia walks past a stunned Zippo.
Do you feel better?
Georgia turns around.
I haven't felt anything in years.
Zippo looks out the window.
Born 1973, Mayor Brooks lay in a pool of his own blood, killed by shivering rage. Blinded by heat, he leaves behind a wife and a city of soldiers dulled by a culture of trauma, starving for a feeling. In this case, a sense of justice. A hive survives on instinct, but instinct isn't the same as justice, no matter how vindicating. The hive will raise its temperature to burn away a parasite. Am I fuel? I'm just an asshole. Down Pharma Chemical has decided to reignite the incinerator. And if you're reading this, that means I'm a parasite. Or so you've decided. On to the next one.
A man working in the factory reads the zine. The zine. The headline reads, Zippo's final issue. The worker crumples up the paper and tosses it into the incinerator. Bum bum. Very noir, you guys.
Cool.
Hey.
It's definitely a tone poem, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you're talking about these wildly, like, abstract concepts. How else are you going to do it? Especially in a short film. Like, how else are you going to do it? So, I love y'all's performances. Alan, it's...
You got a great voice, Joe.
That's what I... See?
Alan, when you were going through, I was like, oh, she's really there right now. She is Georgia. Like, I love it.
Good.
Yeah, it's so funny to hear actors act. Because, like, Alan, your last character was so different. And just, like, such a fun grandma hippie girl, you know?
Yep.
And this one, she's just so, like, jaded, and I guess she's still a protester, but, like, she's just sick, literally and emotionally. And Joe, it's just like, you can hear the exhaustion in your voice, which is lovely. You know, he wants to have hope for the world. He's like, guys, if you could just stop being terrible to each other, we could do something. But
right, it's easier said than done.
But yeah, that's the thing. Is easier. There's no easy answers in this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great. I appreciate you guys. You sounded so good. It's just fun, especially you can't hear the music, but I'll send you guys the clip with the music, and it just it feels so good.
Yay!
Because I can hear it on my end. It's so good.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it won't take long to shoot. Go ahead, Alan.
Have you got somebody that's going to work on wardrobe ideas, or do you have an idea about? I just wanted to keep my eyes open.
Yeah, no, I have ideas for sure. I don't know about George's character. Like, she can't be like an old grandma lady. She's a little cooler than that. But at the same time, she's also sick. Like, so, you know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking more like layers of old shirt or sweaters or, you know, something like that.
Was it like The Last of Us?
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of worn. Especially because she's... so the location that we'll be shooting that... it's all in Fort Worth. There's this place that it's called what is it called? It has an actual official name, but it's called the Butler neighborhood or something. It's essentially a ghetto that was built in the 20s or 30s by the WPA. For all the classic white flight, hey, African Americans, we don't like you in our neighborhood, let's put you in this neighborhood. And then that lasted for generations and generations until the 90s, when the landlords finally, they just weren't taking care of the place, so they ended up shutting the place down. But for years and years, it's both wholesome and it's terrible that exists, but it's also kind of wholesome in that it was this community that like totally was self-sufficient and supported itself, and families and generations grew up there and everything, and it's right next to a school that is still there and still operating, and it's mostly young black kids that are it's like a STEM school.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in the trenches of this dark piece of American history, they've rebuilt and are doing this really cool STEM project for these black kids. I gotta turn on my AC real quick. I had it off so that it wouldn't be, but it's 81 degrees in this house. Okay.
Oh wow.
Anyway.
Wait, is that Oh, go continue.
No. So that's in Fort Worth. It's been abandoned, but I went over there the other day, like a month ago, and it just looks. It doesn't look run down. Like it looks like someone like boarded up the windows, and that was it. Like there's not trash everywhere. There's not the typical abandoned complex. So we'll use that as like the neighborhood that got hit by the factory stuff.
So, quick question: is this the? And you're not talking about where the incinerator is right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about. Oh, sorry. Repeat that.
Yeah, no, that's where the neighborhood is.
So, yeah, is that neighborhood right off of? That's not off of. Is it off of 30?
It's right off of 35. So like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a cool spot, man.
It is.
I was working with another actor, Benjamin Dennis. I don't know if you know him, but he's off in Dallas. We were writing a film about a guy that used to live there back before they were like closing it down, and like white cops came in and kick everyone out, and all that stuff. We're still working on that, but because what might happen is I was reading I think it was Dallas Morning News. It was some local, maybe like Fort Worth. I don't know. It was some local publication, but they interviewed a bunch of people that lived there because there's rumors that they're going to tear the whole place down because it's a huge complex. Like
it's got a nice. Yeah, and it's got a nice outside for gate. It's not, like you said, it's not beat up.
No.
Everything is boarded off though.
Yeah. It's boarded off, but it's not beat up. There wasn't like a bunch of unhoused people there, which is surprising because it'd be a safe place for them to be. So we'll do that for the exterior, for the what do you call an executioner and Knight of Shining Armor. That whole scene that'll be there, and then I'll probably superimpose the incinerator like on the edge of it, in the wide shot. The incinerator is not too far. It's also in Fort Worth. It's an actual abandoned incinerator. I believe it has a couple of stories so that you can pull it off. We'll make it look like it's 7 stories tall so that when you push the guy out the window. But it'll all be in Fort Worth, and the bar that we'll be shooting at if we do that way will be in Fort Worth, and the house is also, so it'll all be in Fort Worth, and it shouldn't take more than a day for us to shoot. But like I said, that's all still just a rough cut. Like, if you guys have any other ideas, this is a collaborative effort. Feel free to pitch ideas, and it would be kind of nice to end it in, it's so dark, it would be nice to kind of have some beat of light or hope in there, like, or at least maybe for Zippo to be, like, just kind of, maybe even just disappointed that people aren't doing better. Hey, let's do better than that. But I also don't want to get too, because he's a journalist as well. I don't know if you guys saw the film Civil War, but the message of the film was, we don't get involved in this. Like, it's not our job to put our fingers in everything. But at some point, like, if what you're creating adds to a toxic environment, then I don't know, what does the role of the journalist become? Like, should you end things even just like on a more positive note, even though that's technically guiding what the audience is? I don't know.
It's a fine line. It's a civic responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big things. Like, if you're a journalist, you have a civic responsibility.
For sure.
Kind of like, to me, like with doctors, they take and I hope I'm not saying this wrong, but the Hippocratic Oath, to be of service to anyone who needs medical help. But we definitely see that's not the issue. That's why when you were talking earlier about what Luigi had done to the CEO of United Healthcare, it was the rejoicing was disgusting, but it was rejoicing from the standpoint of people who feel like they don't have enough in order to sustain life.
And it's totally understandable.
Yeah, and I liken that to the of course the California fires, and I came across a thread, and this thread said, I'm convinced, it was something along the lines of, it said, I'm convinced that you don't want to eat the rich. You just want to see people who have more money than you suffer.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, that is some insight. Because not everybody in those fires is rich.
No, of course
not.
not.
Everybody is an actor. Some people have been in those homes for 75 years when it cost 10, 15 grand, 20 grand to buy a house at that time. With inflation, it equates to more now. So it's like you don't want to see anyone do better than you. But it's also at the same time you feel like someone has their foot on your neck every single minute of the day.
Yeah. I mean, there's rumors going around, and it's just rumors, but they were even reporting it on the news that the place, because there was a bunch of little fires that would spring up, and granted, one ember flying a mile can start up a fire, but all these little ones were starting up, like at the foothills, like starting in the foothills where people have access to. So there's been rumors that it's been arsonists going out and like starting these fires, in some of them, and also the neighborhoods that have been mostly taken down are a lot of the kind of gentrified millionaire plus houses. So like there's been a lot of rumors that it's a continuation of the Luigi issue, like where like you said, like it's just people being mad, and that's kind of. I mean, I'm a pretty dang liberal guy, but I have some friends that I've gotten into arguments with that are legit anarchists, and that's what the Luigi thing is. It's just anarchy, as a political statement. And I'm looking at the LA fires, especially with the houses that are, $3 million and above that are getting burned down. It's like, hot take. It feels like the end goal of anarchy is what's happening in LA, and it's like, to what end? I'm not sure what the end goal of that is. Like, sure, you might be teaching someone a lesson. Oh yeah, don't be a prick. But it's like, at what cost? And are they actually even learning that as well? Like, nothing's happened after that the CEO got murdered. Nothing.
No. United Healthcare hasn't changed their policies one iota.
No,
They got a new CEO.
No, yeah, they have. There's 100 people waiting in line. For all we know, the guy in line was like, "Hey, Luigi, I got an idea." Could equally be as possible. So, I don't know. And that's also kind of the issue with vigilantism, but also the mob mentality that we're getting at in the script is like, when people see red and they get that tunnel vision, that's the point of the phrase in the pitchforks is like, they're not thinking with their minds. Like, they're seeing a target and they're going after that, regardless of the broader context of if this person is actually guilty, or if this person is culpable, or if this person actually did the things that you're saying he did. And I'm not talking about like cancel culture. I'm talking about specific like violence. Like, they're just a mass of people will hype themselves up, and they're not the most intelligent species when they're when they're in a mob like that, and that's a dangerous precedent to set where we're just okay with, we're so jaded that we're just going to go after, people that we deem are our enemies, because there's been plenty of times where hindsight is 20/20. It's like, oh, maybe that wasn't the guy we should have been going after. But it's like, too late. You burned his house down, or you murdered him, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're getting. That's what Zippo's afraid of, but also his role in all of it. And like I said, it's a lot to get across in like 5 minutes. But, it's a tone poem. It'll be fun. It'll be pretty. So, yeah.
Cool.
Well, cool, guys. I appreciate you jumping on. Like I said, if you have any more ideas, please send them over my way. We can throw them in the script, and it's just about it's poetic, It's just
Yeah.
it's just the tone. So yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of
Alan,
course.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, and nice to meet. Well, I guess I met you in person, but thanks for jumping on board,
Absolutely.
Alan.
Yep.
Lovely as always.
Phenomenal.
You're so easy to work with.
Oh.
I love working with you and Reagan.
It's just because we enjoy what we're doing. That's it.
Yeah, it's great.
Like I saw. I mean, it's the classic. You're not working a day in your life if you love what you're doing, that kind of thing. But it's so cliche, but it is really true. Like
It's true. Yeah.
Anyway, and this is how I get my creatives out: is exploring ideas. So anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Short and sweet. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, bye.
All right. It was good quality. Okay, guys. That was everything. I know it was a short little thing here, but I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for this film being put together. I will be editing it live. We might be able to stream it live as well, like when we're filming. So we will find out. Thanks to Joe and thanks to Alan for joining us. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it was a short stream, short little Monday table read. We'll be back Wednesday with our regular scheduled programming. We'll do some writing together with you guys. I don't know what the topic will be. We'll come up with it on the day of. That's what we do here. So, thanks, guys. We'll be officially launching soon. Pretty much right when Trump takes office, officially, we'll be launching with different shows. So follow along, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz. We're trying to make films out here that have some import. So the more interaction we have, the more money we're able to raise. So we want to make these things that are important. So thanks, guys. See you later.